this is the oldest house in Trois-Rivières. We're really glad to have this monumental architectural blessing here with us, because it reminds us of the people who came before and all the work they did in order to build this colony, who is now a beautiful city. Trois-Rivières was built in 1635, and as you can see here, do you see? Yeah, that's the city in 1685, and that big palace was outside of the fortification, and as of today it's now a historical site, and it's a good glimpse at colonial French architecture. And yeah, we're gonna go inside and see more about it. So we're having just a little story about how everything started with New France and Canada in general. So here we can see that back in the 1600s, everyone wanted to conquer New France because it was really appealing for the fur and trading. So we can see here that the French colonization is everything in yellow, and the English colonization is in green. We see Florida and we see all the rest of Canada, but with time there was a conflict between the two countries, the two big nations, England and France, and we had a fight in Quebec, and the French lost against English. So that's when we became the province of Quebec, and the country belongs now to the English community. We're talking about who actually live in this house. So the woman, that's the funny thing, the woman who inherited this house was married to a guy named Joseph Claude Boucher. He was a soldier, and he really helped the province of Quebec to protect the province of Quebec against the American invasion. And he is a descendant of Pierre Boucher. Pierre Boucher is the first Canadian nobleman, and he was the first governor of Trois-Rivières in 1662. So that's a really great people who live in this house. Good thing to know also, here we see Les Filles du Roi, so the king's daughter. These girls were sent from Europe to Quebec so that we could have more families and more babies, you know, and to contribute to the growth of the new colony. And in that time, the girls were more educated than men, because the Ursulines were really productive, helping the native girls and the other French girls having an education. So that's a really good point. Okay, so we found an interesting artifact here. So this cornerstone was found in the rubble of the Immaculate Conception Parish Church, which was built in 1710 and burned down in the fire we had in Trois-Rivières in 1908. And apparently this is one of the oldest cornerstones in North America, believe it or not. So now we're in a dining table back in the 16 or 1700. One funny thing is that because of the religion, of the Christian religion, many time meat was not part of the food, but because beavers are, in parentheses, living in water, they were considered like fish, and for this reason the church was allowing them to eat that meat was not really considered meat. So it was a big part of the food of the French colony. Also, winter was the time of the year where they could have much fun and enjoy free time, because they could not work as much because the ground was cold and they were used to work the ground. So winter and not summer for those people. why not talking about the architecture of the windows back then? So you see, each windows is composed of small squares, and the reason for it is because, you know, if one squares break, you can only replace with one square, and then instead of repairing the whole window. So it was really good for saving money. One funny thing I just discovered right now is that the last name of people in Quebec is related to the job that their ancestor did. So that's really funny for me, like Boucher, butcher, the one working with meat, Cloutier, those with hammer, Carpentier, yeah, and all those names. I know a lot of people with these names actually, that's why I'm so laughing right now. So in New France, the religion was primarily Catholic. So as we saw in this text, Jewish and Protestant religion was prohibited by the clerical institution here, and Catholic ceremony was part of the everyday life. So each Sunday people were called to go to church, and there were about 30 feasts during the year where people had to gather, and they were free from work. One thing to mention was that this atmosphere, this fear of death and fear of going to hell was controlling, I would say, the behavior of people living in those colonies. The Ursulines arrived in Trois-Rivières October 9, 1697, and they were here to help people struggling with epidemics and sickness and every hurts that they had. So the building you see behind is one of the first church in town. It was built by the Récollets. However, with the conquest, this place became the place of surrendering, where all the weapons of the town were just laid down on the ground. But it also became the first place where Anglophones coming from England were gathered in order to have their religious ceremonies. So it was the place where the Protestant came in Trois-Rivières for the first time.